new details this morning.
London reeling from a terror attack in the heart of the city.
Screams and panic tonight on Barcelona's most famous pedestrian street.
The threat is real.
A top official testified to Congress that the Afghan terror group ISIS-K could have the ability to attack the United States within 6 months.
Being prepared to respond to active situations is a matter of life and death.
Get going, get moving! We don't know where he is. Metro Police, open the door!
We should be willing to listen and learn from those who live with terror.
On Friday night, Israel was hit by another terror attack. It was the second terror attack in a day.
To be proactive, State Senator Camera Bartolotta partnered with a group of retired Israeli special forces to provide law enforcement with a 3-day seminar on how Israelis prepare and respond to crises and terror events.
In the United States, we've had terror incidents, you know, the big one, 9/11, 2001. And the further away that we get from that date, the more likely that tomorrow is going to be the next day that we have a terror event.
I was able to secure a grant for this pilot program. The idea was take a look at what it is we're doing here in Pennsylvania around our schools, our public buildings, our courthouses, any place that might become a, quote, soft target.
Those are the areas we want to be able to harden. Those are the areas we want to seek training in. The idea behind this whole training is to understand terror, how to combat it, how to look at it through the eyes of a terrorist, especially within our communities. We wanted to expose our officers to that.
My name is Gideon. I'm from TSI. It's an American company. All the instructors, everybody comes from special forces in Israel. We've been in combat. We've been in terror. I met a couple of years back Senator Bartolotta, and without the senator, nothing would have been done.
I was very interested in what it was they were doing, their method of doing things. We've met with all of the county commissioners from Greene County, Washington County, and Beaver County, with our DAs, with our sheriffs, with our police chiefs, and they were all highly interested in what it was they could learn from this particular training.
This is a 3-day training. It's set up basically as a teaser. The first day is a classroom portion. The second part of the classroom portion is hands-on, where we actually go out and do building evaluations. We have secured different places of worship and some schools where we actually go around and we look at them tactically from an attacker's point of view.
The major goals are to bring the Israeli DNA, the Israeli mindset.
Israeli DNA, meaning it's a lifestyle. It's a 24/7 way of living when you're in Israel. You're always under the threat of terrorism.
Israeli DNA and mindset combine to create the Israeli way. This focuses on building confidence in officers when engaging in active situations.
So unfortunately for us, the question of terror is 24/7, every day of the year, every year.
And on day one, they kind of gave us a little bit of a background on Israel, on just what they're dealing with over there, you know, what they're living with on a day-to-day basis. Opened your eyes a lot as to the tactics and training and why they have to do it the way they do it.
But it's very important to be trained. The police officer at the entrance of the school didn't go in, and he heard the shooting. Why didn't he go in? I don't know. But I can imagine that he was afraid. Why was he afraid? Because probably he wasn't trained enough. When you come and you're the first in the scene, we call it the Army Chief of Staff. You are the boss. You are the one who decides what to do. We don't wait for the troops.
A lot of what we learned over the last 3 days was being a single soldier, what they considered a single fighter, a single warrior.
I definitely took away always be fast, 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 and I know that we're trained here not to wait for any partners, and they pounded that in our head too, so it was reassuring.
But you have to take it out to get it in there. That's what it's saying. Okay.
As you can see behind us, this is the second day of training. They're not firing yet. Everything right now is dry.
Last part. So this go forward and twist. This one doesn't move. Ready? One. Release the trigger. Go back.
It's the way we shoot, the way we run, the way we engage. We bring our experience, our expertise. We bring a toolbox, open it, and we let you take out of it whatever you want.
Your toolbox can never be too big. You might have tools in there that you're not going to use, but you might need it at some point, and if you don't have it, it's not available to you.
Now you're going to second magazine. Anyway, you're going to pull two hands together. When you retreat your gun back, it's here, the nozzle parallel to the throat. No down and no top. Shoot!
Day 2 on the range, it was completely different than anything I've ever done before. I'm a firearms instructor. I've been shooting a lot. I haven't done any of the drills or stuff that they had us do yesterday, and it was eye-opening.
I've been an officer and a deputy for 19 years. We've always been trained more or less 2 to 3 rounds. One of the things that we focused on was firing a burst, more or less the old school suppressive fire.
A lot of rapid fire, a lot of suppressed fire, a lot of rounds down range.
And the third day is actually in a school building where we run through the tactics of clearing rooms and approaching an active shooter or terror suspects.
Open, chest towards the place I go and I open. Now I see the window, I look as much as I can. Reach for the door, be careful not to shoot myself. Between section to section, it's a run. It's not a walk, okay? Any questions about this? Yeah, open, yes. Open, go inside, come out.
You need to really feel like you're in a real situation, to have that muscle memory, to have those reflexes, and to learn how to get in there and get something done.
In this interactive drill, the officer must identify and neutralize the potential threat.
Excuse me, sir. Can you touch me for a moment? Excuse me, sir. Drop the weapon. Get on your knees. On your knees. Lie on your stomach. Hands out in front of you. Put your forehead to the ground.
For me, it was perfect. Perfect. She saw something is wrong with this guy. I saw the way he looked at him. Quite obvious. So she paid attention to something unusual, and she knew how to so wide and focus on the problem.
I did 13 years as a SWAT officer, and this training by far brought into the thinking game a lot more. It was very stressful, made you think, and showed you that the physical side of things.
You know where's that?
The active shooter part, the third day of everything we did, I think that's definitely how you should be, your determination and mindset to be in and get to the threat as soon as you can and try to save as many people as you possibly can.
You better be in shape and you better be ready to move, and you know, your accuracy, your shooting skills, all that, but the biggest thing that they put into us is that you got to have the heart, you got to have the will to survive, you got to be able to go in and be brave to go ahead and take the threat on.
If you are literally the first responder on scene, you now have the tools, the techniques, and the education to be the one, break down that door, get to the bad guy, and prevent some horrific things from continuing or even happening in the first place.
We don't expect anyone to be robots. We have to be trained again and again.
But what the Israeli way does is takes you back a little bit and gives you a different perspective and probably gives you some things to add into the way you operate.
Not everything we will use, obviously, but there are a lot of techniques and a lot of drills that we could adopt to make ourselves better police officers and make ourselves better prepared against a terror attack.
And I am so very grateful to the state for giving us the funding that we needed after 4 years of trying to get this done. And I am so grateful that all of you took us up on it. And I can't thank Gideon and these gentlemen who've come here to give you their years and years of expertise and knowledge, and not just to keep you safe and alive, but to make our communities as safe as possible. So thank you very much for being here. So
yeah, now, yeah, like this. Good. Now, thumb like this.
Okay.
Yes, very good. Now,
Okay.
hang slowly.
It looks like it's going right on it.
No, do it slowly, slowly.
Ah, that's better.